Well, they tell us it's mild for Kansas City this time of year. Certainly feels colder than that. 31 degrees officially, as it's awfully cold up here in the broadcast booth. This is Randy Crossweather as we get you set for the Chiefs and Raiders. There is the head man of Oakland, Tom Cable, his third season, second full campaign as the head coach of the Silver and Black. And a couple of good carrots dangling in front of his team today, trying to stay perfect in the division and end a string of 7 consecutive losing seasons. There is Sebastian Janikowski, amazingly left off the Pro Bowl roster for a 12th straight year. Dexter McCluster, the deep man for Kansas City. We're underway here at Arrowhead Stadium. Low bouncing kick fielded by McCluster at his own 11-yard line. Cuts back across the 25, and that is where the Chiefs offense will begin. A return of 14 yards. And here is Matt Castle, could be the NFL's most improved quarterback this season. A remarkable touchdown to interception ratio, 27-5. And you see what he did in a 20-point win over the Titans here last weekend. Castle last season leading this team to just 4 victories. What a turnaround. 6-win improvement, the biggest one-year turnaround in the history of Kansas City.
And having Jamaal Charles give him that home run ability at running back has been huge, but Castle takes care of the ball, and Dwayne Bowe makes the big plays.
Castle comes in today having thrown for just over 3,000 yards so far in the season, and some trickery here to start. Thomas Jones lines up behind center, takes the snap. Now that little curveball for the Oakland defense to start. They pick up 3 yards on first down. Nnamdi Asomugha comes up with the tackle. Kansas City up front will start with their offensive line anchored by the 11th-year guard Brian Waters, who is Pro Bowl bound for a 5th year. Backs and receivers headlined by Jamaal Charles, also Pro Bowl bound, begins the day 56 yards behind Houston's Arian Foster for the NFL's rushing title. Penalty markers fly, and this one appears to be against Oakland.
Timeout.
Timeout.
Big time confusion for the Raiders on defense. They only had 10 players on the field. Couldn't get the 11th on. Had to call timeout.
All right, so we'll get an early timeout. Opening seconds here in Kansas City. Spiro Thetis, Randy Cross with you. Oakland forced into an early timeout, Randy, and all kinds of disarray defensively.
They really were. The rookie middle linebacker, Rolando McClain, jumping up and down, waving his arms, screaming at the sideline, looking for a substitute, looking for that 11th man. And finally, the sideline, Tom Cable had to call that timeout.
Well, the issue for the Raiders, once again, has been stopping the run. Tough task today against a very strong run game here at Kansas City. Castle play action on second down behind the intended target, Tony Moyaki, the highly touted rookie tight end. It'll be 3rd down and 7 coming up. Take a look at the starters defensively for the Oakland Raiders. We mentioned the absence of Richard Seymour, so the 10th-year veteran John Henderson making a 2nd consecutive start. Linebacking unit headlined by Rolando McClain. His rookie season ends today. The 8th overall pick in last season's draft with 76 tackles, and the secondary is led, of course, by Nnamdi Asomugha, who'll start for the AFC in the Pro Bowl for a 3rd consecutive year. This is 3rd and 7. Castle finds McCluster out of the backfield. He's out past the 40. Finally brought down at the 45-yard line, but not before Kansas City moves the chains with a 14-yard hookup.
You know, Dexter McCluster, I think, teased these Chief fans earlier in the year with a big return and didn't do much after that. But Charlie Weiss and Todd Haley have gotten him more and more involved formationally, but this is the kind of play that they're looking for when they get him the ball out there in air.
McCluster, that high ankle sprain back in October, has not been the same player. I mentioned that 94-yard return on a punt in his first regular season game. Haven't heard much from McCluster since. On first down, this is Thomas Jones. Jones begins the day 121 yards away from his 6th straight season, Randy, of 1,000 yards.
Hey, you got the feel, a little taste on that one play-action fake where Moyaki dropped that pass. That makes this offense so tough to handle because Matt Castle does play-action fake extremely well. The ball disappears, he comes up with it, and then he's very accurate when he throws the play-action.
This is 2nd and 9. They pitch to Jones early on. Randy, how much of the play calling today will try. Obviously, they want to win the game, but they still want to get Thomas Jones another 1,000-yard season. How much will they try to push for that in this game, do you think?
If it comes, it comes. They're going to do what they do. They run the ball about 40, 45 times a game. Kansas City is going to stay to that script. Todd Haley is not going to change that. He wants to be physical. He wants to be smart with the ball. I think he's very aware of those stats and the changes in there between Jamaal Charles and Jones, but he's not going to go out of his way, I don't believe.
This is Jamaal Charles now lining up on 3rd and 8 from the 46. Pass is complete right at midfield. It's Chris Chambers, the 11th-year wide receiver from Wisconsin. They're short of the marker, and Kansas City will punt.
That's an excellent job by the Raiders defensively, sort of forming that picket fence, and specifically Michael Huff at that safety spot, just filling up. As soon as he read the eyes of Castle, saw the receiver filling up and making a very sure tackle.
Dustin Colquitt on to punt, 60th man out of Tennessee. And the return man for Oakland is Nick Miller, who stands at his own 9-yard line. Colquitt gets up a high kick, a little bit on the short side. Miller fields at the 15-yard line, and that's where the Raiders will take over. 1st and 10 when we come back. It's a kick of 34 yards as Oakland takes its first possession next. Kansas City's opening drive stalls at midfield, and now Oakland takes its first possession of the day with just under 12 minutes to play in this opening quarter. Jason Campbell under center. They go end around on 1st down. Darius Hayward-Bay breaks a tackle. He loses the football as well. A pile-on ensues at the 17-yard line.
Kansas City had it early. I don't know who's going to come out of this pile, but a red jersey was on that ball.
Well, strange things happen at the bottom of those NFL piles, but the officials say it's Kansas City football. Derrick Johnson, the man who falls on the football for Kansas City.
If you want to talk about a overall really improved football player, you've got to talk about Derrick Johnson on this football team. He has made a world of difference to this defense. They're stripping and attacking the ball, and they were certainly not fooled by the trickeration coming around from the backside. Darius Hayward-Bay. The Raiders have done that twice in the last 5 games, starting a game with a little bit of trickery.
Johnson, a 60th man out of Texas. Speaking of renaissances, has come on and starting to earn that contract extension that he received earlier this season. This is 1st down. Charles on a pass from Castle, able to get inside the 15-yard line after a pickup of 4 yards. We talked about the turnover differential. Last season, the big story was the New Orleans Saints, the defensive takeaways, Randy, that they had. And look at what Kansas City has done this season. Yeah, they really have been something pretty special when it comes to not turning the ball over, with only 12 on their side. That's highly unusual. The Patriots only have 9. Castle on 2nd down. His pass nearly picked off at the 10, right through the hands of the linebacker, Quentin Groves. Oh, I don't know if it got through the hands. It was certainly in him. It got snagged on him. And then suddenly he remembered he was a linebacker, and the ball came popping out of those things. You tape your hands up, you wear those rougher gloves. It's a little harder to be nimble of the fingers. And Groves had that ball easily snagged for that pick. He read that perfectly. Castle has thrown only 5 interceptions all season long. I wonder if the weather played any role there. It's awfully cold today here in Kansas City, with temperatures right around the freezing mark. This is 3rd down and 5. Castle's pass incomplete. So the Chiefs, given a gift by their defense, can't capitalize. And now Ryan Suckup will come on and try to salvage 3 points. And for Tom Cable, it's been kind of a theme for these Raiders. They gave up 69 points so far this season off turnovers. With the field goal here, that number will bump up to 72. And it's also something on the other side that Kansas City has been very adept at. You give them a chance to hurt you with a turnover, they will score. Suckup on here to attempt a 30-yard kick. It's up, has the distance, and is through the uprights. So Kansas City 2 possessions to start. They come away with 3 here and jump out to the early lead on Oakland. Here in Kansas City, a 30-yard field goal by Ryan Suckup has given the Chiefs an early 3-0 lead. It's a very unimpressive start so far for Matt Castle and the Kansas City offense. Jacoby Ford back deep, the electrifying AFC Special Teams Player of the Week for his second time this season. Ford fields from his own 5-yard line. Cutting right, trying to find some real estate, and is forced out of bounds out past the 20. And just short of the 23-yard line is a return of 17 yards. So Oakland now will come back out. Had one play from scrimmage, a fumble to start on an end around by Darius Hayward-Bay. We've seen a couple of trick plays now from both teams in the early going, neither with much success. Here's Jason Campbell, an up-and-down season. 6-5 so far as a starter. His completion percentage just under 59%. One of his better days of the season last weekend in a 5-point loss to Indianapolis. On first down, the Raiders keep it on the ground. It's Michael Bush out past the 25-yard line and brought down at the 26. Picks up 4 yards. And the aforementioned Bush starting today in place of the injured Darren McFadden. First up front, it's Langston Walker, about 2 weeks removed from the concussion, making the start today at one of the tackle positions. Bush makes his 3rd start of the season as Darren McFadden misses today's game with the toe injury. This is 2nd and 7. Bush trying to cut to the outside. He's tripped up by the cornerback Brandon Carr. Randy, it is an excellent secondary for the Chiefs, and let's look at how the Chiefs will line up today. Up front, Glenn Dorsey, trying to get his career back on track, has become a solid defensive lineman after 2 heartily disappointing seasons. Linebackers are headlined by Tamba Hali, a surprising Pro Bowl snub in the AFC. And the secondary unit that we mentioned, excellent this season. Eric Berry, a rookie safety. Chiefs record with 117 tackles.
Nickel crew on the field. The beef is on the sideline. The speed's on the field for the Chiefs D.
Penalty markers whistle to play dead.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
We talked a little bit about this Raider football team. They are much improved. The offense has done much more, but Tom Cable pointed out to us yesterday, you know, the turnovers have really hurt this team, and habitually the penalties, especially the drive kind of stalling penalties like that one, have really hampered this offense.
The penalties have been an epidemic for this franchise. Nothing new. You can go back years and years. It's always been the Achilles heel of the Oakland Raiders. This is 3rd and long. Campbell flushed out of the pocket, has the ability to use his legs. Pump faking, he'll try to run for the 1st down, but he'll come up about 5 yards short. Tamba Hali makes the stop.
Yeah, Hali does a nice job of not stopping, not giving up. He hemmed Jason Campbell in. Jason Campbell will not hurt you bad with his feet. He has the ability to move around a little, but look at the very end here as Hali falls on the back of Campbell's legs. He comes down and smacks. It's a hard field, too.
Kick bounces back inside the 21-yard line. This is Javier Arenas, the rookie, trying to make something out of nothing as the Raiders training staff continues to look at Campbell on that Oakland sideline. It's been a revolving door at the quarterback position this season for the Raiders, and hopefully for the silver and black, Campbell is okay. We'll come back right after this.
Welcome back here to Arrowhead Stadium with Kansas City up 3-0. Raider quarterback Jason Campbell scrambling there. You saw at the very end the little wiggle. He seemed to hang up and hold up. I don't think it was any kind of a pull, but he's been holding his right knee over on the sideline since they started attending to him.
Got an update on Campbell as quickly as we can. Meantime, Matt Castle and Kansas City's offense back onto the field with a 3-0 lead. Keep it on the ground on first down. This is Thomas Jones looking to cut back, but Oakland so far good up front defensively. We mentioned the issues that they've had stopping the football with opposing rushing attacks. As you see Jason Campbell on the sideline, Bruce Gradkowski, of course, had his season cut short with that shoulder injury. So Kyle Boulder is their backup quarterback.
Yeah, and remember, yesterday Tom Cable told us that last Chief game was really the coming out party for Jason Campbell.
This is 2nd and 10. Thomas Jones again. He's been the featured back here in the early going. Let's get an update. Big games, postseason implications. Let's go to New York and James Brown.
Spiro and Randy. Steelers with the win can clinch the AFC North in the first round bye after a Polamalu pick. Up top, Ben Roethlisberger to Mike Wallace, 56 yards. Steelers out quickly 7-0. Baltimore 3-0 over Cincy. The Ravens need a win and a Steelers loss to clinch the AFC North. Back to Spiro and Randy.
All right, JB, thanks. We'll be keeping you updated on all the big games around the NFL on this final day of the regular season. Bobbling catch by Bo out past the first down marker and just short of the 40. It's a first down for Kansas City.
Very nice circus catch, nice concentration by Dwayne Bowe, and that play kind of typifies the Chiefs offense so far today. It's been sort of stumbling, it's just been a little bit off, and right there Dwayne Bowe is just good enough to control it, get his feet down before he fell out of bounds.
They pick up 11 yards, move the chains. This is 1st and 10 from the Kansas City 42-yard line. Castle goes play action to Jones, has time, and his pass falls incomplete. Getting back to Bo for a moment, you talked about coming a long way, not just over the last couple of years, but just this season. You think back, Randy, earlier this year, that Indianapolis game, he drops that touchdown right in the end zone, would have given Kansas City the lead, a game that was very winnable. Well, boy, he's come a long way since then. Leads the NFL in touchdown catches.
Well, you have to learn how to run routes. You have to learn how to run with the ball after you catch it. But more importantly, you have to learn how to be a pro. And it took him a little longer to learn.
And Dwayne Bowe headed to his first Pro Bowl. Something Todd Haley was a little bit weary about. As Kansas City again keeps it on the ground. This is Jamaal Charles. Was worried that once Bo got the news he was headed to the Pro Bowl, that maybe a guy who had been a little selfish in years past would kind of lose his focus. But Dwayne assured his head coach, we've still got some work to do, and that made Todd feel a whole lot better.
But you forget with the success this year how early in the process of building Scott Pioli and Todd Haley and this organization is, and how young this football team is. It's the 6th youngest team in the NFL.
Kansas City 2 of 4 on 3rd down plays so far today. We've got a 3-0 lead with 6.5 minutes to play in the first. Castle hit as he throws it short. And once again, Oakland's defense able to hold its ground. The cluster was the intended receiver, and Kansas City will punt.
Yeah, Tommy Kelly put some nice pressure on, and really overall there's been some excellent coverage, because when Matt Castle's gotten to the end of some of these drops, there's been nowhere to go with it. You saw there Dexter McCluster, he's not 6'4". He is only about 5'9", and that was thrown to a 6'7" tight end. Unfortunately, he had a 5'9" receiver trying to get it.
This is Dustin Colquitt on the punt. Nick Miller back deep, stands at his own 15-yard line. Miller signals for the fair catch. And Kansas City will field on a bounce. Inside the 15-yard line, it's Terrence Copper able to down the football. Oakland retakes possession. A new quarterback, Jason Campbell, we're told, has a right knee injury. They continue to look at him on the Raiders sideline. And so Kyle Boulder, the 8th-year veteran, is now under center. Randy, very little reps. They've already had that injury now at the running back position with no Darren McFadden. And right now, another Oakland Raider is injured on the field. So we'll step aside. Just under 6 minutes to play. First quarter here in Kansas City, a 3-0 game. Now the Raiders a walking mash unit already. Jason Campbell leaving the game earlier in the quarter. Now Zach Miller there. Much heralded tight end being looked at on the sideline. This is Michael Bush out past the 25-yard line, out past the 30, and able to move the chains with a run of 15 yards. Now you may want to look away. This replay here, Randy, not for the faint of heart.
He walked right off under his own power, but here he is coming in. Helmet and shoulder pad of Johnson, the linebacker, goes right into the left knee of Zach Miller. But like we said, he did walk off. He's being examined on the sideline. They're doing the standard stress tests on the knee.
We'll try to get an update as quickly as we can on both Campbell and Miller. Kyle Bowler making his 5th appearance of the season for the Raiders under center.
Number 68, offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, penalty, the motion on Jared Verheer, who as a football player for this offense, Veldheer has just been amazing for a rookie. And he's had Robert Gallery, who's one of the better prepared linemen in the league, next to him at left guard. But Veldheer, Tom Cable said he's about 15 pounds and a few months in a weight room away from being a real beast of an offensive tackle.
Veldheer, their 3rd round pick in April's draft. This is Bowler under center, and he's dropped down for the sack. It's Tamba Hali, who has terrorized quarterbacks all season long.
And this attack has really freed Tamba Hali up. Remember, on the other side, he used to have Jared Allen. But if you attack on one side, you can't just slide to 91 Ali. He's actually semi-spying to start. And as soon as he sees Matt Castle pull that ball out in the play, Bowler pulled the ball out in the play fake, he comes screaming on the blitz.
Ali, his 13th sack of the season, came in 3rd in the AFC. Raiders go draw play here on 2nd and long. This is Michael Bennett trying to get to the original line of scrimmage at the 31-yard line. He's about 7 yards short. So now Oakland really behind the 8 ball, Randy. Kyle Bowler, a kid who has had little to no reps coming into this game, thrust into a very tough position here on the road against a very tough defense.
And right now this Kansas City defense is giving him a 2-deep shell and a little man underneath and a lot of pass rush.
Here's Bowler on 3rd and 15, pressured, his pass complete, but they're well short of that first down marker. Michael Bush is dumped down at the 30-yard line by Andy Studebaker.
Yeah, there was nowhere to go. They had everything handled, not only deep, but also underneath. And Studebaker was basically wearing the Raider running back as a second skin. He was right there next to him when he dumped it off.
Raiders have had bad field position to start, and so far just trying to win that battle. As Javier Ruiz-Fields fumbles the football, it's taken by his teammate, but a fair catch was called. And so Kansas City,
it was a muff punt return. It can't be advanced by another player other than the guy that muffs it.
It's already the biggest one-year turnaround in Chiefs history. They've got a 3-0 lead. Castle in the offense, however, unable to get much going. The pass play is complete by Bo. And then they say incomplete. It's jarred loose by an electrifying hit by Michael Huff, the safety.
Well, Huff is doing one beautiful job. We've already seen him a couple times playing center field. He's at his free safety position. He'll be at the top of your screen. He sees Bo on the crossing pattern. As soon as he sees Bo and watches Castle, he starts filling. Bo never has a chance to secure that ball. It clearly came out right away.
Off the 60-year safety from Texas. Going against his old collegiate teammate, Jamaal Charles, the man who takes the handoff here on 2nd down and 10. Charles out past the 30, tripped up after a pickup of about 3 yards. Tackle made by Rolando McClain. Let's get another update with postseason implications. Here's James Brown.
Spiro and Randy, the Saints still in the running for the NFC South and home field. Take a look, Drew Brees hooking up with the tight end Jimmy Graham. 4th touchdown of the last 3 games for Graham. 7-3 New Orleans on top of Tampa Bay. Back to Spiro and Randy.
All right, James Brown in New York will keep us updated on all the big games with postseason implications throughout the afternoon. Kansas City 2 for 5 on 3rd down conversions today. High pass taken by Charles there over the middle. Tackle by McLean, the rookie linebacker, as they bring him down at about the 37-yard line. And that is enough for the Kansas City first down. They're now 3 of 6 on 3rd down plays.
That was a very nice job by Matt Castle. And the better quarterbacks in this league, the Bradys and the Mannings and the Breezes and guys like that, have that calm about them, especially late in the play. And right there for the first time today, Matt Castle had a little of that calm to him. There wasn't much of a hurry at the end.
Chiefs starting to build some offensive momentum here after 3 lackluster drives to start. Jones on a minimal gain on first down. Back to New York in an update with James Brown.
But as you know, an Atlanta win, they clinch the South and home field. Falcons off fast, quickly. Take a look at Eric Weems' 55-yard punt return to pay dirt. 14-0 Atlanta out in front of Carolina. Spiro and Randy.
All right, so the Falcons trying to lock up home field advantage with a win today.
How about that Monday night game between Atlanta and New Orleans? New Orleans is really peaking at the right time, and we've got an injured player down on the field, injured Raider, another Raider down. The New Orleans Saints, they can finish anywhere from the first seed, and it's sort of the tumble period here for the NFC because of the records, but New Orleans can finish anywhere potentially after today, number 1 or number 5.
It's amazing.
You got a heck of a spread.
In a wide open year it's been in the NFL. This is Matt Shaughnessy, the injured defensive end for Oakland. They've already lost Jason Campbell. His return still a question mark with that knee injury. Zach Miller, the tight end, went off with an apparent knee injury as well. Randy was out on the field doing his little pregame paces, checking that playing surface. It is hard and it is cold here in Kansas City, where temperatures just below the freezing mark. This is Charles trying to get to the 40-yard line. Is forced out of bounds by Lamar Houston, the rookie defensive end, a pickup of 2 yards.
And Jamaal Charles down on the ground after at the end of that tackle there. He came down face first. Got to see here if he comes down right on the ball when he's tackled. It looks like a rugby scrum at the end, and the rugby scrum goes the wrong way, and Jamaal Charles gets slammed face first down on the turf.
Boy, what is going on here in Kansas City? A number of injuries here. We're still in the first quarter now with 44 seconds on the clock. This is a Kansas City team, of course, that is playoff bound, a week away. And the last thing they want to see is Charles walking off the field with an injury. Looks like Charles is okay.
But Todd Haley and his football team, to their credit, this is all hands on deck. Todd Haley realizes he has a young football team. This isn't the time necessarily where you're going to pull people and rest people from his perspective. They need to be effective. They need to execute. And if you're going to be off, you have to earn your way off.
Castle on 3rd and 6. Was hit as he threw. It's incomplete. Castle upset, asking for a penalty from the officials. No flags are on the field. Tyvon Branch, the man who applied the pressure.
You know, frustration happens, especially this time of the year in a game like this, especially when you've had success and suddenly now the passes aren't going where they're supposed to. Things are just a little bit off. You've got to take a little calm, take a deep breath, look within yourself. That's where you'll find the answer, not in the striped shirts.
This is Colquitt on. He's been a busy man so far. Another punt. Nick Miller fielding from his own 19-yard line. Minimal pickup after the catch as the marker is thrown at the 22-yard line. Our referee today is Bill Levy.
He's going to back these Raiders up.
A punt of 40 yards as they sift through the penalty here.
During the kick, illegal block in the back, number 34 of the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
That's Mike Mitchell, one of their backup safeties, the culprit. And once again, those Raider penalties coming back to haunt the silver and black.
Boy, what a nice job, isn't it? Even in week 17, you're going to be the gunner on that punt team and run down, you will be abused. And Jason Campbell, Spiro, back in the huddle for the Oakland Raiders.
I'll give Campbell all kinds of credit. This is a team that is not headed to the playoffs, but Campbell wants to finish the season strong as Oakland, of course, tries to wrap up what has been a perfect record in the AFC West. Came out of the game with a right knee injury earlier, takes a whack here, and Campbell's slow to get up. It's incomplete.
Well, at least here in week 17, the 16th game for the Raiders, you talk about their success this year, and especially as it reflects today, their quarterback Campbell has taken a little bit of a beating. He took a nice shot right there, but this has been a team that's had as good a first quarter. In fact, they're the top scoring team in the league in the first quarter. It's been second, third, and fourth where they've had their problems scoring. Today, they're doing things a little backwards for Tom Cable.
This is Bush on 2nd and 10. Bush breaks a tackle, has the first down, and he's brought down at the 25-yard line. And with that,
the end of the
first quarter here in Kansas City. The Chiefs a 3-0 lead. Well, always a hard-hitting affair between the Chiefs and Raiders in the first quarter today. No exception. Multiple players from both teams walking off with injuries. And the good news for Oakland, Jason Campbell, Zach Miller, both have returned. Miller on the field here at the tight end position. This is Campbell going play action on first down. He's wrapped up and brought down at the 19-yard line. Tamba Hali with his 2nd sack of the day and 14th of the season.
And Spiro, you talked about Miller being back, but look at here, right here. This is Khalif Barnes, a backup offensive tackle. He's lined up at tight end. This is a formation specifically built to protect. But Ali ends up over there going against Miller. Miller can't keep him out, and it results in a sack.
Hard to believe this guy was not selected to the AFC Pro Bowl team. The 50-year man, now with 14 sacks on the season. Markers whistle the play dead. And this one looks as though it's against Oakland.
Little procedure, little movement.
False start, number 70, offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Now, Randy, Tamba Hali was a good pass rusher before Todd Haley came here and the Scott Pioli regime took over. He has become a great pass rusher.
Well, he was very, very good when Jared Allen was on the other end defensively, and he got a lot of single coverage. Then when Allen went to Minnesota in free agency, everyone concentrated on Hali. Now, the way this defense works at the new position as a backer, he can come from different angles, different places.
Oakland's 4th penalty, totaling 24 yards so far.
Here he comes. Here comes Hali.
This is 2nd and 20. Hali trying to get to Campbell again. Campbell rolling right. It's a nice little block to spring him free towards the end. He's out past the 30 and right at that first down marker at the 35-yard line. A 20-yard run by Campbell.
Well, Hali working against Bell here, the rookie left tackle. Watch from the right side of the screen, Dwayne Bowe. Oh, I'm sorry, not Dwayne Bowe. You got the wide receiver comes in at the last second and just makes a nice block. In fact, it's Michael Bennett, the backup running back, comes in and protects his quarterback.
Campbell has always had that ability to break free, and a huge run play here to move the chains for the Raiders at 1st and 10. Once again, if you've just joined us, a late scratch, Darren McFadden, their star running back today, unavailable with a turf toe injury, so Michael Bush now thrust into that starting role, making his 3rd start of the season. There's McFadden on the sideline.
Yeah, Bush has done a real nice job. First quarter, had 5 carries for 38 yards. He's only added to that now. In fact, on the other side, Jamaal Charles averaging over 6 yards a carry coming in for the season. He's just a freckle over 3 yards a carry against this Raider D.
Oakland down 3-0, 2nd and 9. High pass fielded by the intended man. It's Bush making a heck of a catch, having to reach up and behind him. And Oakland again close to the first down.
That was really nice. Good job of protection. Last minute, Campbell does a job and just dumps it out there as Bush initially was in protection. He just came out as a little safety valve and snagged that with his left hand.
Campbell airing it out on first down. It's incomplete. Inside the Kansas City 10, trying to find Louis Murphy.
Well, Brandon Carr leaped up and I think just got his hands and his arms in front of this ball right at the very last second. Watch Murphy kind of eye it down, and then Carr come through and just leaps in front of Murphy and distracts him. And you can tell by the hands to the face there at the end that Murphy is a little distressed about not holding on to that one.
Well, you look at the resurgence. Randy talked about the offensive turnaround for this Raiders team. They've gotten very little from their wide receiving core. But despite that, averaging 13 more points per game this season compared to last. Raiders go draw play here on 2nd down. Bush picks up 3 up the gut. Brought down just shy of the 50-yard line.
Well, the biggest thing you're missing when you don't have McFadden for the Raiders is pretty simple. You talk about the speed and the size and all that. McFadden on 20-yard plus runs is #1 in the league. I mean, he pops 20-yard chunks better than anybody else in the league, and that will help your offense. That alone will improve your offense dramatically. Chad Schillens, bottom of the screen at wide receiver.
Raiders 0 for 2 on third downs today. Here's Campbell. It's caught at the 40. Schillens, the man that Randy just mentioned. And Oakland with its first third down conversion, a pass play of 11 yards.
You mentioned the wide receiver group. They're very young. In fact, Jason Campbell, when we talked to him, says, what are they, like 23 years apiece or something like that, years old apiece? But Schillens, 6'4", about 220, does an excellent job of using what the good Lord gave him, just a big frame, tall, turn it to the quarterback, give him the target to throw at.
Oakland's passing game ranked 23rd in the NFL.
Ball start, number 70, offense, 5-yard penalty, first out.
That is Oakland's 5th penalty already. Oakland looking for its first points of the day, down 3-0. Michael Bush making that late start. Got word right before kickoff that McFadden would be a scratch. Well, we talked about Oakland's penalty issues. It's been an epidemic with this franchise for years and years, and right now they've moved into 5th place all-time for single-season penalty yardage. That is not a record that the Raiders wanted.
Yeah, if you want to start on 2 things to correct to become a real quality team next year, don't turn it over and don't do that.
Campbell from the shotgun on 2nd and 12. Screen pass to Jacoby Ford, the electrifying runner inside the 10 and finally forced out of bounds. Well, Ford has done it all season long as a return man, and slowly but surely has started to found his niche, Randy, as a wide receiver. It's a 35-yard play.
Watch the left tackle. Veldheer comes out here, 68. That is a big man. That's a rookie offensive lineman getting out in a defensive backfield, getting the defensive back on the ground, knowing you've got a Jacoby Ford. Doesn't have to be a great block. It was a great block because he knows Ford can just scoot by him.
Ford's 25th catch of the season, now approaching 500 yards receiving in his rookie campaign. Draw play to Bush on 1st and goal. Bush to the 5-yard line. Tackle made by Wallace Gilberry, the backup defensive end.
Yeah, look at this defensive line, Kansas City. You know, Romeo Cornell's come in here as a defensive coordinator in his first year, and he likes the 3-4 defense, and he loves big physical defensive linemen. And he's got a guy like Dorsey who can move and wiggle, but generally speaking, he's got linebackers that are smart and defensive linemen that eat up blocks and let those linebackers run.
Romeo Cornell's defense 9th in the NFL in points allowed per game, just under 20 per week. There's Campbell on 2nd and goal. Pressured again, his pass is incomplete. This is an area where Campbell is very good taking care of the football. Has not thrown an interception in the red zone in more than 2 years.
Yeah, remember, Tamba Hali, you count as a linebacker, so he's not a lineman. And in this alignment, you got 2 down linemen for Kansas City. They're blitzing inside, and Veldheer having a tough time with Hali, and they keep bringing him again and again and again off the rookie's outside shoulder. And there, he made Campbell get rid of that ball late.
And Oakland will be forced to burn its second timeout.
Timeout.
A 3-0 lead for Kansas City. 8:38 to play before halftime. Well, for all the turnover issues that the Raiders have had, they have taken care of the football inside the red zone. See the long run that they've been on here. They face a 3rd and goal from the Chiefs' 5. Campbell. End zone, touchdown Oakland. And the Raiders take the lead, 6-3. It's Chad Schillens on the reception.
Yeah, hard to miss that 6'4", 220-pound wide receiver. And you'll notice right at the very end, Jason Campbell kind of guided because he knows he's got a wide open receiver. You've got to figure at the very last second, rookie Eric Berry just lost track of the wide receiver from the Oakland Raiders, and Schillens came wide open because he was right with him until he just stopped and just let him go.
Sebastian Janikowski on for the point after. And what an impressive drive for the Raiders. They go 91 yards, 14 plays, 6 run plays, 8 through the air. Campbell to Schillens, and it's 7-3 Oakland. "14 plays, 91 yards for the Oakland Raiders. Jazz Schillens on the 5-yard touchdown reception. His first on the season, and Oakland with its first lead of the day at 7-3. Dexter McCluster back deep to return, but it's taken by one of the young men at the 25-yard line. Minimal return by Jake O'Connell. Backup tight end. As Matt Castle and company will have excellent field position when we come back. Jason Campbell 60 yards through the air on that drive along. Timeout. Here in Kansas City, Spiro Ditas, Randy Cross, our entire CBS crew, as Oakland has taken its first lead at 7-3. Charles on first down, but the Kansas City offensive run game so far hasn't done much, and overall it's been a very lackluster start for Charlie Weiss's offense.
Remember that field goal there came off the Raider turnover on the reverse by Darius Hayward-Bay.
Castle out of the shotgun on second down. Pass is incomplete. Late marker flies. Chris Chambers the intended target.
That's roughing the quarterback. They absolutely blistered Matt Castle. He gets up slow.
After the pass was thrown, personal foul, roughing the passer, number 79. Defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, Big John Henderson wraps Castle up, then slams him down. That's the kind of hit you can really hurt a quarterback. And Todd Haley, he saw it. He says, that's flagrant. Get him out of here. He's got a point, though. That was flagrant. That was not an accidental slam and planting. There was no Turkey Jones from Cleveland doing it to Terry Bradshaw back in the day, but as much care as we take of the quarterbacks, Todd Haley knows that you can quickly warrant something like an ejection.
John Henderson starting in place of the injured Richard Seymour. 6th penalty of the day for the Raiders. Jamaal Charles on first down. Let's go back to New York, get an update with JB.
Spiro, the Steelers have scored on each of their first 3 possessions, including that second 1-yard TD run by Rashard Mendenhall, looking to win and clinch the AFC North and a first-round bye. Baltimore hoping the Steelers slip. Not the case. Ravens on top by 2 field goals. Spiro and Randy.
JB, thanks. Castle out of the shotgun again. Just can't seem to get any kind of rhythm with the pass game. Pass was thrown behind Jamaal Charles, and it will be second down and long coming up.
Matt Castle recovering fairly well from that slam down. Puts the ball right on his running back's hands. Jamaal Charles in this running game is just off. Right now they're averaging right around 2 yards a carry. He and Thomas Jones have 9 carries for 19 yards. And the bottom line for this right now, the offensive line's just not getting it done because the holes aren't there to run the ball.
This is 3rd down and 12. Kansas City so far just 61 yards of total offense.
Timeout, Kansas City. That's their first charge. Timeout.
And the confusion continues. They burn a timeout. 7-3 lead for Oakland as we welcome you back to Kansas City. 7:23 to play in his second quarter. And so far it has not been a good day for this Kansas City offense.
Not at all. 13 passes, 11 rushes. That ratio is a little out of character. Charlie Weiss in this offense and Matt Castle are just off.
Tough situation here. 3rd and 12 from the Chiefs 43. Castle feeling pressure, nowhere to go. It's Wembley on the sack coming from the blind side as Kansas City loses 8 yards.
When we started this game, we talked about this offense being, or this team being different because A, they won at home, B, they ran the ball well, and they protected the quarterback. Well, you're not going to win at home when you can't run the ball and you can't protect your quarterback. You've got a playoff game here next week against a good defense, whoever comes in here, and you've got to start protecting your quarterback.
Colquitt on to punt again. Nick Miller on the run, fielding at the 30-yard line. And is brought down at the 35. So Oakland now a chance to build on their 7-3 lead as we move under 7 minutes to play in the second quarter. Well, just to reiterate again, this is simply not just a dress rehearsal for their playoff opener here next weekend. They've got something to play for, a win, and they lock up that 3 seed in the AFC playoffs.
Well, the nearsighted goal should be just take care of Matt Castle. This guy's getting beaten up.
Oakland comes in now, fresh off their longest drive of the season earlier in the quarter. Went 91 yards as Campbell found Schillings for the 5-yard touchdown throw to give the Raiders a 7-3 lead. Well, the likely first-round opponent for Kansas City remains the New York Jets. They can lock up the 3 seed with a win today. And as you see the different playoff scenarios depending on the outcome of this game, and of course what the Jets, Steelers, and Ravens do on this final day of the NFL regular season. 2nd and 6. As Michael Bush trying to find some open room there out past the 40, is brought down by the linebacker Derek Johnson.
That sets up a 3rd and medium, which brings the nickel defense in, the speed in for the Kansas City Chiefs. And you were just talking about a playoff formula or possible playoff matchups. The bottom line, people forget, it's always, hey, I want the #1 seed, I want the best record, I want, just get a ticket. Didn't some of the teams in the last 3 or 4 years teach us anything? It's not about having home field advantage. It's not about being #1. Get in the tournament. If you get in the tournament, you can win the Super Bowl.
And Kansas City is already in. They've locked up the AFC West. They wanted to go in with some momentum. And so far, they're a far cry from that as Campbell is sacked back at the 36. Len Dorsey and Tamba Hali got there. Hali already with 2 individual sacks. And here they'll force the Raiders to punt.
Watch Hali come from the backside working against Veld here. He forces him right into Dorsey. He makes Campbell rush forward, but he actually had Campbell around the legs. Gets a little piece of that sack. Dorsey cleans it up.
Well, Dorsey written off before this season as a first-round bust. And so far has played well his 3rd year in the NFL. He started from day 1 and has really developed into a solid defensive lineman for Romeo Cornell's defense. Javier Arenas watches that punt bounce out of bounds. As Matt Castle and company back onto the field, they have mustered just 3 points so far in this first half. We talked about undefeated home seasons in Chiefs history. 1971, they took the AFC West. 1995, that great team headlined by Marcus Allen. And 1997. So winning the division hasn't always translated into playoff success.
Kind of like I was just talking about, just because you win the division and get a bye doesn't mean you're necessarily going to just keep advancing. The last 4 times they did win those divisions, they were undefeated at home. They lost in the playoffs in that first divisional round.
Last postseason win for Kansas City, 1993. Joe Montana and Marcus Allen leading that team. Kansas City has dropped 6 straight playoff games. No team in NFL history has ever lost 7 straight. They'll look to avoid that next weekend.
I think watching this team, what has made them different, regardless of first, second, whatever their rank is as far as in the playoffs, is Matt Castle in the passing game has been different. It's been dynamic. Today, it's been non-existent.
Total offense just 64 yards so far. Castle just again all discombobulated, rolling right, and Castle looks like he's hurt. At this rate, Randy, he's getting whacked around.
It's that left elbow, left wrist. He landed right on it.
Number 73, reporting eligible, 73.
They bring an extra offensive lineman. Asamoah, the rookie, comes in. He'll line up probably, I would think, at either an H-back or a tight end. You need some extra protection. He's going to line up as fullback. 3rd and short.
This is 3rd down. Carry taken by Thomas Jones. Well, Randy, looking at all the injuries, guys going down now from both sides. Oakland, of course, but not playoff bound. But for a team like Kansas City that is a week away, how long do you go with your starters? We think, just last year, week 17, that devastating injury to the Patriots' Wes Welker.
Well, if your best, arguably your best offensive player, Matt Castle's getting beaten up like this, you don't play him much longer. If these guys won't protect him anymore, you might have to pull him just so you can have him healthy for next week.
Even with that 3 seed in the AFC playoffs still at stake, Castle again hit as he throws. Todd Haley has to be cringing with what he's seen so far. After the injury to Wes Welker here, it was week 17 of last season.
And this will be the argument. In fact, Wes Welker was the first one when asked about that this week. He said, hey, look, I want to play. I don't care. It's a game. I'm going to go. I could get hurt at any time. But, you know, there's a lot of opinions. There's a lot of formulas. Todd Haley knows all the opinions. He knows all the formulas. But one of the things that's kind of out of your control if you're a coach is if your quarterback's not getting protected, if your running backs aren't getting holes. That's not part of the formula. You're not anticipating that.
Castle again trying to avoid the pressure. It's Wembley again right behind him. Pass is incomplete. And now the question was, he out of the pocket there, that tackle box area. Marker is thrown at the 32.
Intentional grounding. Number 7 offense. The ball did not get back to the line of scrimmage, even though the quarterback was out of the pocket.
Absolutely.
Lost it down at the spot of the foul. 3rd down.
You saw right at the very end, Matt Castle is trying to throw the ball past the marker. The marker is going to be on your left side of your screen, so it's right there at about the 45-yard line. He starts running, he starts throwing, but the ball actually creases and goes out of bounds short of the marker, about the 43-yard line. So not only is it the penalty, it's also a loss of down, so now it's 3rd and forever.
First penalty that Kansas City has been flagged for today. They lose 13 yards in the play. As Castle now on 3rd and long, no choice but to just crumple down to a knee. It's Moss and Wembley combining on the sack.
Well, Bill Muir is their offensive line coach here in Kansas City. I think it might be time to get out the whip on these guys, because I know the Raiders are doing pretty well, but watch the pass blocking on the right side is almost non-existent. Brandon Albert does not do a very good job. He gives up quick pressure to Jarvis Moss, and Matt Castle suddenly is finding himself with a lot of company in that backfield every time he drops back to pass.
The Chiefs have 57 yards of total offense, just 3 points on the board in this first half. Colquitt on to punt once again. He's been a busy man. Nick Miller backpedaling from his own 29. He flicks it back. And then a vicious hit. Tyvon Branch, the man who took the pitch, is brought down inside the 25-yard line.
How about that hit by Demario Williams, though? Talk about maintaining your angle, maintaining your alley. You don't collapse. You stay where you're supposed to be. You see that try, and yak, you just run right through the trick play.
And that hurts a little bit more when you're playing in 30-degree weather.
You're on the beach too much. You forget your good old days in New York.
It's cold. It's cold even in the broadcast booth.
Your blood's thinned out too much.
This is Randy Crossweather. 30 degrees at kickoff.
It's not Manhattan
like
Beach,
about
I know
30
that.
below. No, it's not. Here's Campbell on first down. Campbell flushed out. It's complete to the tight end, Zach Miller. Came in with 55 catches on the season. That one good for 9 yards and very close to the first down.
The Raiders they're going to move quickly. Remember, move quickly, don't hurry. So the key here, you're very cognizant of the clock. You're cognizant of your timeouts. You got plenty of time and timeout.
This is Bush trying to get to the first down marker. It's an Oakland Raiders team that has been a resilient group this season, 7-8 coming in. A win today, and they become the first team since the merger to go perfect in divisional play, yet miss the playoffs. As you see Tom Cable there on the sideline.
More importantly to Tom Cable and this organization, I think, is finishing at 500 and ending the streak of losing seasons.
7 straight, going back to 2002. Here's Campbell. Campbell has been dangerous with his feet today. Derek Johnson wraps him up at the 40 after a pickup of about 5 yards. 2-minute warning in Kansas City with the Raiders in front, 7-3.
25 yards.
Oakland.
25 yards away from reasonable field goal range still.
Campbell finds Miller again. They've got the first down. Down past the 40, close to the 41-yard line. Eric Berry, the highly touted rookie safety, on the tackle.
Yeah, Sebastian Janikowski's got a monster leg. Kicked the 59-yarder last week at home. In this cold weather, -5 yards, and still losing 20 yards short of that spot.
His career long is 61. Randy mentioned the 59-yarder, had another 50 yards last week. There's Janikowski trying to get loose on the Oakland sideline. Tough to do in this weather.
But if you do the math on that, a 54-yarder is going to be snapped from about the 36-yard line. So they're going to have to get at least one more first down plus to get in that range to set up Janikowski for a field goal. And they do have a timeout still in their back pocket with a minute and a half left.
Minute 32 to play before halftime. Campbell from the shotgun on 2nd and 10. Campbell. Incomplete. Jacoby Ford, the target at the 50. And Oakland will have it 3rd and 10. Williams on the coverage.
Yeah, very nice job by Demario Williams. We saw him make that great tackle on the punt coverage team. He lines up in the very middle of the field there by the KC logo, and he closes on Jason Campbell, eats up the time, and Campbell can't hold the ball anymore. Good job by the young linebacker.
The Raiders 2 for 5 on 3rd downs today. They've got it here 3rd and 10 from the 46. Campbell from the shotgun. Bush, the bobble and catch, has the first down and inside the Chiefs' 40-yard line.
There you are. You're now in field goal range with Sebastian Janikowski. It's a monster field goal in this cold weather, but you do have the wind. You have the first down. We're about to go under 1 minute, and you still have a timeout.
15-yard pass play. 1st and 10 from the 38. This is Michael Bush making his 3rd start of the season for the injured Darren McFadden. Derek Johnson on the tackle.
Oakland. That's their 3rd and final charge timeout of the half.
Two-minute warning already behind us. 50 seconds now to play in the second quarter. And Randy, you just said it, hard to believe which of these teams is going to the playoff and which team is going home after today.
You just saw Sebastian Janikowski on the sideline. Matt Castle, we've watched for 1 half, get beat up. This has got to be a kind of come to Jesus speech at halftime for Todd Haley and the Chiefs. But Tom Cable went over to Janikowski, double-checked on his distance for the day. But I got to think right now, Janikowski's good. It's 52 or so, but he'd still be good for a try.
Again, Janikowski hit 2 field goals of 50-plus last weekend, including a 59-yarder. As Campbell finds Schillings, the man who caught the touchdown earlier in the second.
Boy, Brandon
for 9 yards.
Brandon Flowers was all over him, but Schillings went up, used his body. Nice catch by Schillings.
1st down and 10. Campbell airs it out to the sideline. It's incomplete. Once again trying to find Schillings. 4th-year man from San Diego State. Coverage by Brandon Flowers.
I guess the polite term for that is that was a lack of communication. Quarterback thinks you're going long, and Schillings.
Are you being politically correct?
He reads the route, and he sort of stopped the route, turned around for the short little back shoulder throw, and it went all the way down the field.
If you've just joined us, Oakland on that touchdown drive earlier in the quarter. Their longest drive of the season, 91 yards. And right now trying to build on this 7-3 lead.
Ford and Hayward Bay, top of the screen, receivers.
Here's Campbell from the shotgun. Completes to Miller. And Miller dumped down just prior to the 20-yard line.
Kill it here. Just snap it and kill it.
Raiders have no timeouts. Campbell will down it with 11 seconds left before halftime.
Just bring on Janikowski right now.
Take that.
Going to kick this field goal. That was a good execution. Very nice job by Brandon Flowers, the corner, of filling up and tackling Miller, the big tight end, inbounds. Miller was going to try to get turn around, catch that ball, and try to get out of bounds. But Flowers, excellent job of just cutting his legs out from underneath him and not letting him get out of bounds and stop the clock and buy the Raiders an extra play.
Janikowski, the 12th team man. Kick is up. It has the distance and is through the uprights. So the Oakland Raiders coming to Arrowhead Stadium, trying to end their string of losing seasons at 7. And right now with a 7-point lead.
You know, Kondo, nice accurate snap. Leckler put down perfectly. And Janikowski powers it through. And, you know, Janikowski is one heck of a kicker. You mentioned that he's not, you know, in the Pro Bowl again. He's part of the what-if story. Remember when we were in Phoenix earlier in the year, if he makes that short field goal at the end of the year, you know, suddenly right now, this is a team that's playing for the division title more than likely. You know, they've had 2 or 3 different games that have been like that.
That was week 3 at Arizona.
Remember, Spiro, we've already seen Janikowski pooch kick a time or so. They're going to try to keep the ball away from Dexter McCluster, especially here with 7 seconds to go. No reason to give the Chief rookie returner a chance for a big return.
Ball flies off the tee. Janikowski will reset. This Raiders team already with its most wins since 2002. That subsequently was their last playoff year. 11 wins, eventually lost in the Super Bowl to the Bucs. They weren't eliminated from postseason contention until last weekend, week 16. And that is a moral victory in and of itself for the Raiders. Kick is bobbled by Jackie Battle, able to fall back on the football at the 39-yard line. And what else could go wrong for the Chiefs today? Down 7 with 4 seconds still on the clock.
No, this is just it's called the victory formation. You're going to get in here. You're going to have Castle take the snap. This somehow is an appropriate end of this first half for these Chiefs. Just a near bobbling finish. You really want to get in there right now and shore up everything you have from a protection standpoint, because right now running and protection have been a serious issue for this football team.
Kansas City 34 points in that blowout win here against the Titans last weekend. Today just 57 yards of total offense as Jamaal Charles picks up the first down, but too little too late as the Chiefs could muster just 3 points in the first half. That's the end of the first half with the Chiefs trailing the Raiders 10-3. The Raiders trying to end the season with a 500 record. They've lost 7 straight losing campaigns, a losing record dating back to 2002. Also trying to finish the season unblemished in the AFC West. As you see Tom Cable on the sideline, there's Jacoby Ford set to return as he stands back at his own 5-yard line. Spero Dedes, Randy Cross, our entire CBS crew from Arrowhead Stadium here in Kansas City. The Raiders a 10-3 lead as we begin the second half. Here's Ford cutting back. Dangerous return man, had a 99-yard return last weekend against Indianapolis, and this return for 18 yards.
That was a smart play by Varan Tucker in the coverage there, the wide receiver making that tackle. You take a look at these stats for the first half, kind of check everything Raider. Kansas City has done some nice things defensively. The biggest shot coming in is Jamaal Charles and Jones running the ball have been a non-factor in this game, and the Kansas City has chosen to throw. When they have, Matt Castle's been knocked down a lot.
Oakland nearly 200 yards of total offense in the first half. They build on that number. Michael Bush making the start. The injured Darren McFadden out with that turf toe. And Bush here runs for 22 yards and a Raiders first down.
Well, you remember Michael Bush had that horrific broken leg when he was at Louisville. Really hampered him for about a year and a half. And he's got power. He's got pretty good speed, but there's a difference between not having McFadden at running back as number 20 for the Raiders. You give him that kind of a hole, that kind of an opening, McFadden might still be running.
Here's Bush on first down again. We told you about what the Chiefs are playing for today, a Kansas City win. And a loss by Indianapolis means that the Chiefs would be the 3 seed in the AFC playoffs. A Kansas City win or an Indianapolis loss. That likely first-round playoff opponent will be the New York Jets, but still so much can happen in that AFC playoff picture.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel gets matched up there with Myers, the tight end, and has to just almost horse collar him out of bounds. Nice dump off by Jason Campbell, because the Chiefs had good coverage down the field.
7-yard pass play there.
And Vrabel's a good example, Spiro, of a veteran on this team. Brian Waters on the offensive side, Vrabel on the defensive side. He's got to get the whip out. He's got to get these younger guys focused in and zeroed in on what they have to take care of business.
Vrabel, the 3-time Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. Kansas City defending here with Vrabel as Michael Bush makes the catch. And Oakland once again able to move the chains. We told you about the turnaround offensively for the Raiders. They came in today needing 15 points, Randy, to double their scoring output from last season behind their offensive coordinator, Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, Hugh Jackson being the offensive coordinator is mattered for Tom Cable and his team. Part of it is a point of reference, because you have to remember how bad that offense was last year. So doubling it up is kind of a relative term.
Campbell on first down. They keep it on the ground. This is Rock Cartwright on his first take of the day. Cartwright, the 10th-year man out of Kansas State.
If anything else, Hugh Jackson has brought something a little bit different. You know, he wears the old school basketball headband on Friday at practice. He has fun with his guys. He really has brought a little bounce in the step of this offense. And I think that's been his major contribution. That, and he knows what winning is. He's been around winning programs. And what he tells these offensive players has a lot of weight.
Jackson, the quarterback's coach with the Baltimore Ravens the last 2 years, has become a hot coaching commodity in the NFL. All kinds of rumors about what his future will be, whether or not he'll come back. Randy is the offensive coordinator, quite possibly the head coach if Al Davis so chooses. But some big decisions, not only on a personnel level, but with the coaching staff coming up this offseason for the Raiders.
And that's just for the Raiders. Remember, a lot of stories, a lot of word now about Charlie Weiss, the offensive coordinator on the other side for Kansas City, going to Florida.
Raiders 4 of 8 on third downs today. Campbell's pass is incomplete. A couple of markers fly back at the 45. Darius Hayward-Bay, the intended receiver. Brandon Carr on the coverage. Bill Levy is our referee.
I think this is going to be going against the Raiders. Brandon Carr did a great job on that coverage.
Illegal use at the hands of the face. Number 68, defense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
68 offense is Jared Velhier again, the rookie offensive tackle. Velhier has had a tough time. He's on the left side, 68. And look at that right hand, and that's working again against Tamba Hali, who instead of coming through that left shoulder chose the inside route. And when he went inside, he not only got the right hip and the right shoulder, he also got the right hand of Velhier up in here in his face.
Well, the Raiders have a lead in this game despite the 7 penalties for 54 yards. It's one of the most penalized teams in a single season in NFL history. Third and 14 from the Chiefs' 49. This time Campbell has all day to throw. Will check down to the tight end Miller. Miller's still going, finally brought down inside the 40, about 4 yards shy of the first down. So decision time here. It is very cold. That has to affect the decision making on a potential field goal kick. Randy, what do you do here?
Well, in normal circumstances, and actually if this was about a month, 2 months earlier, I think Tom Cable would opt for a field goal. But I think going for it here, not a bad idea. You've got this lead. You were on the road. You've got a chance to hold on to the ball, kill more clock. and take a little hope away from Kansas City.
4th and 3 from the Kansas City 38. Campbell blitzed, finds the tight end, but he's short of the marker. Miller makes the catch, had to get to the 35, and he did not.
Ruling on the field, the runner's progress was stopped. First down, Kansas City. Timeout.
Eric Berry saves the first down play, and the Chiefs take over next. Well, not exactly what the Kansas City faithful had in mind today. The Oakland Raiders have come in not playing for anything in terms of postseason bids. But right now the Raiders holding a 10-3 lead as Kansas City takes its first possession of this third quarter. Thomas Jones on the take, picks up minimal yardage. We talked about the outside story surrounding Charlie Weis, the Chiefs' first-year offensive coordinator. Reports indicate that he has already accepted a position to become the new offensive coordinator for the Florida Gators. He'll head back to the college game. No official statement released by Kansas City earlier today. As Matt Castle throws, it's incomplete, trying to find Dwayne Bowe. Markers fly. It'll be an interference penalty against Oakland. Stanford route was the man on the coverage.
Yeah, that right arm hooked around the waist. The left hand was knocking the ball away, and the right hand was holding back.
Pass interference. Number 26 defense. First down, spot of the foul.
Watch the right arm. Right arm hooked in there, got the number from the backside on Bowe, but the left hand comes around the outside.
So 8 yards on the penalty. You see where the Raiders now stand. 7th most single season penalty yards. Castle's pass is deflected. Tony Moyaki nearly with the reception, but it falls incomplete, and it will be second down. Just to get back to Charlie Weis, the initial take, if you're a Chiefs fan, will be, how could they do this at this point? How could Charlie desert us at this point in the season with the playoffs right around the corner? But this wasn't totally unforeseen. It's not a big surprise to people who know Charlie's aspirations.
Well, he wants to be a head coach again, and in order to be a head coach at the college level, the major college level, you have to get back into that whole recruiting process, back into the OC process.
Here is Jamaal Charles inside the 30, still running. And finally, Kansas City able to take the shackles off of its offense.
Well, nothing takes off a good shackle faster than crisp, clean execution. You flip the ball out to your best fast running back. You get good blocking out on the outside. Bowe gets a nice block out there initially, and Charles just turns on the Jets. This is what this running back out of the University of Texas has really brought to this team, is the home run ability as a running back.
47 yards for Charles, sets up the Chiefs with a 1st and goal. Here's Thomas Jones trying to get to the 5. So with that run, Jamaal Charles has now overtaken Arian Foster for the NFL's rushing lead. Foster and the Texans will play later today. Second portion of the NFL doubleheader here in Week 17. And you know Foster is keeping very close tabs on what Charles is doing in this game. Just a historic season it's been for Jamaal Charles, selected to the AFC Pro Bowl squad. Here's Castle, play action, has time. This pass is high and incomplete. And it will be 3rd and goal coming up.
Big John Henderson, 79, defensive tackle, collapsed that pocket. Matt Castle was patting the ball, and finally had to throw it in the 3rd row.
5-yard line.
You know, for all the glee about getting the nice big play from Jamaal Charles, and that's wonderful. You want to talk about next week's style of football, next week being the reality show that is the playoffs. You get down here in the red zone, you have to have touchdowns in the playoffs. Dexter McCluster in the game, top of the screen.
Timeout.
Kansas City 4 of 10 on 3rd down conversions today. They called a timeout, trying to get the right play call. Well, biggest play of the day so far, a Kansas City drive that began at its own 36 has taken them down to the Raiders 5. It's 3rd and goal from here, with Kansas City trying to tie this game. Castle, Charles on a take, and Kansas City on the verge of tying this game at 10.
Well, Kansas City, Charlie Weiss, the coordinator upstairs, Todd Haley, they go to their strength. They go right behind Brian Waters, their Pro Bowl left guard, Brandon Albert, their left tackle, and they power run it in. Great double team inside by Wigman and Waters. A nice one-on-one block by Albert, and it's 6 points easy.
This is Ryan Suckup on the point after attempt, and Kansas City has tied this game at 10. Charles with his 5th rushing touchdown of the season. Kansas City on a long run by Jamaal Charles, setting itself up for the game-tying touchdown, and we are knotted at 10 with 8 to play in this 3rd quarter. Rock Cartwright on the return, out past the 20 and brought down at the 25-yard line after a return of 14 yards. It has been a hard-hitting day as expected. This is one of the fierce rivalries in the NFL. Sloppy early, the penalties starting to rack up for the Raiders.
69 eligible, 69.
Jason Campbell to Chaz Schillens for the 5-yard touchdown play, gave Oakland the 7-point lead. Matt Castle and company ineffective offensively in the first half, but then Charles happened. 47-yard run to set up the game-tying touchdown.
And Arrowhead Stadium, Spiro, is back alive.
Oakland on the first down play will keep it conservative to Michael Bush. He's dropped down for a loss by Tamba Ali. We told you the playoff scenarios in this game. Kansas City locks up the 3 seed in the AFC with a win or a Colts loss. And with that 3 seed, they will face either the Jets or the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, by the way, are closing in on the 2 seed in the AFC.
We always talk about the ingredients in the playoffs. You better be able to run the ball, win at home. You also better be able to pressure the quarterback. And Tom Ali now has 14.5 sacks. Great confidence boost for this defense, knowing you got that kind of weapon.
Here's Bush, has some running room. Takes on a tackler at the 33. And able to keep that pile moving forward. Eric Berry trying to come up with the tackle, got his bell rung.
So we're seeing a lot of Khalif Barnes at tight end for this football team. He's been in and out of the football game for the Oakland Raiders. They've decided just to go to the pure power approach, and they're slamming right at Kansas City. Not a bad idea, as well as Kansas City's been able to rush the quarterback, keep running it instead of always putting these guys in pass blocking positions.
11-yard run by Bush sets up the Raiders with a 3rd and short. This is the fullback Marcel Reese. Had to get to about the 35. And this will depend on the spot.
That's going to be right at it. It's going to be a first down. They'll move it.
Bill Levy says first down, so they move the chains. And this Oakland offense, very methodical. They've mixed the run and pass very well today.
And the ball really does get just across the 35. See it right there. Actually, it gets a little bit past it. Remember, earlier in this game, Jason Campbell went out with a tweaked knee. Miller, the tight end, Zach Miller, looked like he blew his knee out. He somehow was gumbied back, and it didn't hurt his knee. He's been back in the game.
The Raiders offense already short. No Darren McFadden today. This is Campbell on play action, first down. Slings it near side, trying to find Ford, and it's incomplete. Kendrick Lewis on the coverage. There is a flag thrown at the Kansas City 47.
It was an illegal contact.
Illegal contact. Number 24 defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Brandon Flowers.
Yeah, he was locked up with Jacoby Ford. Jacoby Ford ran right up into him, and there's no way Flowers could really avoid the contact on the stop and go. Better to have the contact and stop him than letting him go.
Well, Jacoby Ford, a guy who was kind of lost in the mix early in the year, didn't assume kick return duties until week 3, and now has really found his niche as a wide receiver. in Hugh Jackson's offense. Ford 1 catch today, 35 yards. As he and the Raiders offense have it 1st and 10 from the 40. Campbell. It's caught right at the 50. Murphy with the catch. And he's right at the 1st down marker.
It's going to be, I think this one's going to be just short. It'll be about a football short. So he's going to set up a short yardage situation. Not a big deal. This is an offense that right now is in base personnel. They've taken Khalif Barnes out of the game. They got Miller back in at tight end. They've got 2 wides, a fullback, and a halfback.
Michael Bush on 2nd and short has the 1st down. He's inside Kansas City territory, brought down at the 45. Let's go to New York, get an update from James Brown.
Spiro, Baltimore looking to take care of its own business, capitalizing off of a Cincy fumble with Ray Rice taking it 7 yards for the score and a 13-0 lead. Baltimore still with a shot at the AFC North in the 1st round bye if Pittsburgh were to slip, but Pittsburgh up by 35. Back to Spiro and Randy.
And you see what the Steelers can do, a 38-3 lead. They can clinch the AFC North in a 1st round bye with a win or a loss by the Ravens.
That's called taking care of your business. You got to win to get the right thing, win to win the division. You take care of it that way.
Campbell play action again. Brought down again. Markers fly, and this one could be a face mask.
Oh, yeah.
Belcher got him. And, boy, that would hurt if you're Kansas City.
Personal foul, face mask, number 59 of the defense. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, 1st down.
Now, back when the term actually existed, that may have been almost, well, it lasted pretty long in slow motion, but that was fairly inadvertent. He was kind of bringing that hand around to grab. He ended up grabbing face mask. But now there's only one kind of face mask, the one they call. That's 15 yards from the spot. That's a 1st down. That sets Jason Campbell up with still in a base situation.
Gives the Raiders a 1st and 10 from the Kansas City 39-yard line. Nowhere to go for Michael Bush. Runs into a red wall. If you've just joined us, Michael Bush making the start today. No Darren McFadden for the Raiders. And with that very bothersome turf toe injury. For Bush's 3rd start on the season. And has picked up his 2nd 100-yard rush game of this 2010-2011 campaign.
This Kansas City defense has really done a much better job here in this 2nd half of shutting off the inside of that rushing game.
Ford in motion on 2nd and 9. End around to Ford. Inside the 35, inside the 30. And another 1st down for the Raiders.
You imagine your defensive coach last year, you're getting ready for C.J. Spiller and Ford on the same team at Clemson. Talk about some speed, and that's the kind of speed he has. He has that speed, not totally unsimilar from McCluster on the other side to Chris Johnson for Tennessee. It kills angles, and it absolutely drives defenses nuts because they can't overcommit on the backside or you give up those kinds of yards.
Oakland winning the 1st down battle by a 2-1 margin. As Ford goes for 12 yards on the end around, giving the Raiders a 1st and 10. 9th play of the drive, it's gone for 49 yards. Here is Bush, right up the gut, cuts back, and he's into the end zone. And the Raiders retake the lead.
What a nice job by Barry Richardson, Ryan Lilja, and Casey Wigman. The right side of the Raiders offensive line. The Raiders offensive line up front is Satelli, Carlisle, and Walker. Watch the right side. Walker kicks him out, and man, does Bush just power up the middle. Just when you say they're doing a great job inside stopping the run, they get stretched out and absolutely gashed.
And they have had 2 long scoring drives. The Schilling touchdown play capped a 91-yarder in the 2nd quarter. This one goes 75 yards in 9 plays. And it's capped off by the long touchdown run by Michael Bush. He's at 128 yards for the day, and Oakland with a 7-point lead. 26-yard touchdown run by Michael Bush. He's now at 128 yards for the day. And another extended scoring drive by the Raiders offense to give Oakland a 7-point lead. Sebastian Janikowski on the kick. Dexter McCluster is the deep man, but again, it's one of the up men. Jake O'Connell fielding the kick, back up tight end. And again, good field position for Matt Castle and the Kansas City offense. Michael Bush right through the teeth of the Chiefs defense. Timeout. Back with you from Arrowhead Stadium. Matt Castle and the Kansas City offense back onto the field. First down pass play between Castle and Dwayne Bowe, but the Chiefs again trailing 17-10. We come up on the final 2 minutes here of this third quarter.
Yeah, nice job by Bowe, just bodying up on Tyvon Branch. Got in a man-on-man situation, one-on-one. Too deep, man under. Tyvon Branch trying to muscle him up, and Dwayne Bowe wouldn't have any of it.
11-yard pass play sets Kansas City up with a 1st and 10. Here's Charles. They have lost yardage there. Quentin Groves on the tackle. Spiroditas, Randy Cross, our entire CBS crew from Arrowhead Stadium. Temperatures below freezing here. And right now there is a chill in the air as Kansas City desperately trying to get some momentum going a week away from the playoffs. Here's Bowe again, huge hookup. Inside Raiders territory, forced out of bounds at the 42-yard line.
Wow, talk about a shallow cross. Dwayne Bowe lined up on the far side of the formation. Stanford Routs trying to follow him through the wash. He ends up about 5 yards behind him, and Dwayne Bowe does an excellent job of running that shallow cross, getting the ball, and heading up the field.
19-yard pickup. Bowe now 4 catches for 50 yards on the day.
You know, running routes like that is one of the areas he's really improved in.
Dwayne Bowe Pro Bowl bound. Thomas Jones tripped off. Excellent play by Groves, able to shoot through the gap. And Jones jumped down right at that line of scrimmage.
Well, we came into this game expecting to see a significant 1-2 punch, and Charles and Jones have had flashes. This Raider defense, though, has done a pretty good job, except for that one huge run by Jamaal Charles.
This is 2nd and 10 for Castle. A screen pass for Jones, but again, the Raiders defense has it covered as Jones loses yardage.
That was team defense there. Rolando McClain did an excellent job coming from that inside linebacker spot.
This is the end of the third quarter.
That's the end of the third quarter in Kansas City with the Raiders leading the Chiefs 17-10. Happy to have you with us on this final day of the NFL regular season. Spiroditas, Randy Cross, our entire CBS crew with you. Kansas City with the win locks up the 3 seed in the AFC playoffs, but right now they're down by a touchdown as we begin the 4th. This is 3rd and 11. Castle just 9 of 20 on the day. He's sacked here. Tyvon Branch wraps him up. The 4th-year man from Connecticut.
Yeah, I mean, that was just an empty backfield. Nobody behind Matt Castle. You bring Bowe in motion. That tells Tyvon Branch, the backside safety, I've got nobody to cover. There's only one receiver. We've got 2 defensive backs. One takes Moeaki. Tyvon Branch says, I got the quarterback.
And what has happened to the Kansas City pass protection? Matt Castle has been banged around like a ping pong ball today. This is short punt by Colquitt. And Oakland will take over at around the 20.
During the kick, holding number 34 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down, timeout.
Oh, Oakland wins this game. They'll have 1 despite the high number of penalties yet again. Timeout, early 4th quarter. Oh, we touched on the issues that Kansas City is having protecting Matt Castle. The offensive front getting an earful on that Chiefs sideline. Raiders take over 17-10 with a lead here. Early 4th quarter, Arrowhead Stadium here in Kansas City.
Well, early and often, the Raiders defense has beaten up on Matt Castle, and offensively, the Raiders have used a lot of Khalif Barnes, a backup tackle. And a little power look right now. Power tackle over. Left side loaded up for the Raiders.
Michael Bush over 130 yards on the ground today and a touchdown. Let's go back to New York, get an update with James Brown.
Spiro, Cincy is on the scoreboard. Jerome Simpson, the wide receiver, with his 10th catch of the day. This one an 11-yarder from Carson Palmer. It is now 13-7 Baltimore. That in the fourth. Back to Spiro and Randy.
JB, thanks. We'll keep tabs on all the postseason implications around the NFL here in Week 17.
Bengals playing like they want Marvin Lewis around for a little longer, huh?
Playing for their head coach. Here in Kansas City, Jason Campbell and Oakland trying to finish their season at 500 with the win. Campbell's pass is caught by Murphy. It was tipped initially, and Murphy somehow makes the catch and has the Oakland first down, a 20-yard reception.
What a nice job of concentration and not giving up on the ball by Louis Murphy. Jason Campbell this into a very tight window. The ball is definitely stripped away there by Brandon Carr, but Murphy doesn't give up. He tips it back into the air into himself, or back to himself, and gets some extra yards.
Murphy, the 23-year-old third-year man, able to move the chains for the Raiders. They're now in Kansas City territory as Michael Bush builds on his total. Back to New York and JB.
All right, Spiro, take a look here off of a Drew Brees fumble on 4th and 1. Josh Freeman hooking up with Mike Williams, an 18-yard strike. Tampa Bay trying to keep its playoff hopes alive with the win and losses by the Giants and Packers in order to make it. Meanwhile, it looks like New Orleans will be the 5th seed, Atlanta the number 1 seed, as the Falcons 31-3 on top of Carolina. Spiro and Randy.
So a much tougher road in the postseason for the defending champion New Orleans Saints. Campbell pump faking, throws down the sideline. It's incomplete. There was some contact. No penalty marker. Darius Hayward-Bay, the receiver. Brandon Flowers applying the coverage.
Yeah, a little hand fighting both ways. Hayward-Bay never really stops in that stop and go. Brandon Flowers trying to stay with the speedster. There was just enough disruption that Hayward-Bay couldn't get to where Campbell was throwing that ball.
Disappointing year for Darius Hayward-Bay. Just 26 catches coming into the day. And just 9 receptions all of last season.
Another example of a young receiver still learning his craft.
Decibel level rises here. 3rd down and long. Campbell airing it out. It's incomplete.
See, now there's a good example. You know, a year from now, maybe Hayward-Bay runs this route a little differently. You see him gets up at the top of the route at the stem. He should be driving back down along the sideline, back to the ball, not sort of fading and stopping and waiting for the ball to get to him. The defender can stay near you, and you actually get a chance to go get the ball instead of waiting for it.
It's a very young wide receiver core for the Raiders. Hasn't been able to produce much. Shane Leckler hasn't been on the field much today. And that one takes an Oakland bounce inside the 10.
Didn't bother
after a 47-yard kick. You're right, timeout. Early 4th quarter here in Kansas City. The Raiders a 17-10 lead. And right now have the Chiefs pinned deep inside their own territory at the 3-yard line. Castle from his own end zone swings it near side. It's incomplete. Has looked almost exclusively in the direction of Dwayne Bowe.
You're the Kansas City Chiefs. You're trailing by a touchdown here at home. You need to finish this quarter. Finish aggressively on the offensive side. Finish aggressively for the defensive side, because you got a good team coming in here next week.
Castle play action trying to avoid the safety. And barely gets rid of the football. Raiders screaming for a marker.
There was not a receiver. There was a receiver had crossed through that area, but it was 5-8 yards behind the nearest receiver.
A marker comes down on that sequence. It's a safety. Tommy Kelly was there. And it looks like Kansas City dodges a bullet.
Yeah, Bill Levy and company have decided that the ball was thrown in the general area of a receiver there by Castle as he desperately tried to avoid that safety. Protection issues, though.
And now a marker comes in, and it is a safety.
12 men in the huddle.
On the offense.
Okay.
Half the distance to the goal. Third down.
Well, he started putting his arms upward. I thought he was about to say safety.
He was counting.
So Kansas City whistled for the penalty. Not the signal that Tommy Kelly was looking for from Bill Levy. But Oakland will take it. And that means it'll be a third down and long here from the 2-yard line. Kansas City just 145 yards of total offense. Castle pinned back as far as he can go. His pass is intercepted at the 26. It's picked off by Michael Huff, and he's out of bounds at the 10.
That's another example of Michael Huff playing a real nice deep center field. They know they're in man underneath. Huff just watches the quarterback, watches the ball, sees Castle scramble, knows where he's trying to get the ball to McCluster, cuts right in front of the young receiver and gets himself an interception. That's something Matt Castle, last 8 games, 20 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, has not made the big mistake. This game so far for the Kansas City Chiefs, if this was Hollywood, you'd say they're going against type.
Just the 6th pick that Castle has thrown all season. And now the Raiders back in business, a chance to build on a 7-point lead with 11:16 remaining. Campbell goes draw play, and now an end around. Here's Ford near side. Cuts back inside the 5 and into the end zone for the touchdown.
And give Jason Campbell a nice little bit of credit for blocking on Tamba Ali on the reverse. He sort of pesters the outside linebacker more than blocks him, but he keeps him from closing on Jacoby Ford. Nice sequence. Bush flips it to Ford. Now here comes on the left side of your screen. Here comes Jason Campbell working against Ali. Stays with him, stays with him. He can't come off. Ford's too quick. Once he's by it, he's gone.
The Oakland Raiders on the verge of pushing to a 14-point lead. With 11:07 to play here at Kansas City.
They're playing the style of football, much like whoever's coming in here next weekend.
They have doubled their scoring output from last season, and more importantly, have a 24-10 lead on the Chiefs. Well, the offensive issues continue for the Kansas City Chiefs, and right now down 24-10 as we play early here in the 4th quarter. Matt Castle on the sidelines is just 3 of his last 8 and just threw his 6th interception of the season. Here's Dexter McCluster out past the 25, close to the 30. As Castle and company will take over after a 26-yard return by McCluster. 24-10, Raiders in front. Oakland 24, Kansas City 10. With 11:01 to play, 4th quarter here from Arrowhead Stadium. Chiefs have their work cut out for them here. Charles on 1st down, bounces to the outside, close to the 1st down marker, and forced out of bounds close to the 40. So here is what is at stake for the Chiefs today. We're assuming that these Steelers are going to lock up the win. They're up huge in their game. So that means that with a win in this game, Kansas City would lock up the 3 seed in the AFC playoffs and play the Jets. If they lose, they would take on the Ravens here in the 1st round next weekend. And Randy, the point that you made is that both of those teams play a similar style to what Oakland is doing today, but they just do it much better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're both extremely physical, have excellent quickness, really good strength. They love to attack offenses and get after the quarterback. They're both a little on the hard side when it comes to running the ball against them, let's put it that way. Kansas City is ruining a really golden opportunity to be the 3 seed right here.
They'll play a home game here, whether they're a 3 or a 4 seed. Right now, Todd Haley just Worried about cleaning things up. We're building some kind of momentum. Bo unable to make the over-the-shoulder catch. Inside 30. Coverage by Stanford Route.
Yeah, look at Bo. He doesn't put the hands really up until the very last second. It's a great tip for a young receiver, not giving up when the ball's coming. But Stanford Route uses that sideline as his best buddy and makes Bo have to almost fade out of bounds to get to the ball.
Well, we should point out that Kansas City could still earn the 3 seed if they lose and the Colts lose later today against Tennessee. So you don't want to bank on Peyton Manning losing with anything on the table. That game will be in Indianapolis.
False starts. Number 76 offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Yeah, but you sure want to go into the playoffs playing your brand of football. This isn't the brand of football that Kansas City did all year long to get in the position they're in. And they took care of their quarterback. They effectively and consistently ran the ball. They were more often than not the more physical when it came to which team wins that physical battle up front. That's not the case today in any of those categories.
Castle's been pressured all day long, and he's wrapped up again. This time back at the 20-yard line. Desmond Bryant on the sack.
This is about as close as you're ever going to see a screen look, because it almost looks like they just let the Raider rushers go, and the offensive line stands around and looks, but there's no screen guy to dump the ball off to Castle. He's got no relief. He's got no safety valve to dump off to just in case. And that was terrible.
And the nightmare continues for Matt Castle. He's now 9 for 26. And that one interception earlier in the half. Make it a second pick. And this is a pick 6. Stanford Route returns it into the end zone. And the route is on here in Kansas City.
Well, it's an old cliche. The whole thing about pressure busts pipes. Consider Matt Castle's pipe officially busted. He's seen so much consistent pressure. They got after him so much. Todd Haley's quarterback on that last play, patting the ball, staring down his receiver. Stanford Route just cuts right underneath that pass and takes it in for 6 points.
21 yards on the interception returned by Route. And the Kansas City Chiefs have a 31-10 lead here in Kansas City, making the Raiders with a 21-point lead. Timeout.